it going, you guys? The one MFP here. I hope you're all having a great day today. I'm back to react to another song off of Tyler Joseph's No Phun Intended. The last song off of this album, or mixtape, that I reacted to was Blasphemy. The next song I'm going to be reacting to here today is Drown. If you missed my reaction to Blasphemy, you can check it out by hitting the link right above here. In that reaction, I found that some of the things Tyler was saying sounded like things he said in other songs and future albums, and some of the melodies sounded very familiar as well. You guys mentioned in the comments of that video that that would be the case for some other songs off of No Phun Intended. This song here, Drown, being one of them. Just like a verse in Blasphemy ends up appearing on Anathema in Regional at Best, one of you mentioned that one of the verses here in Drown is identical to a verse that appears on Fall Away off of the self-titled album. Fall Away is one of the songs I went back to listen to a lot off of the self-titled album. I like that song a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see which of the verses is from Drown. It's going to be interesting to see how that verse is used and how it's delivered. But yeah, let's get right into it. And if you're new to this channel, welcome to MFP Reacts. I post reaction videos here, so if you enjoy that type of content and you like this video, please take the time to check out some of my other reactions, and if you enjoyed those, please subscribe. I always appreciate the support. Now here we go, the second song off of No Phun Intended, Drown.
Here I come to you in the very clothes that I killed you in, and I walk to you. Can you wash me? Can you drown me? I wanna be loud and think so much been up inside of me. I was failing miserably drastically, and then I crashed dramatically into a wall. I've hit 100 times before, and yet I still ignore the dark red bloodstains on the floor. Back and forth between me and who you call me to be. You see a man free who thinks he has to buy a key to a door, but he can't cause he's poor, and he can't fall down anymore cause he's already on the floor. He has more than 9 lives, so he picks himself up and keeps climbing for the prize again. Every time I feel selfish ambition is taking my vision. My crime is my sentence, repentance is taking commission. It's taking a toll on my soul, I'm screaming submission.
Here's that Fall Away verse. I don't know if I am dying to leave my face for name my sake, abuse of grace. Take an aim up to obtain a new name in a newer place. And they say the ocean's blue, but it's black right now. In the dark on the sand, looking out at my crowd. They're crashing and drowning, singing out in 4 bars. The lightning reveals when the ocean stops and the sky starts. I've been told God begins with random chunks of light, remind me of what is true. But right now the ocean's black and it's black, the sky is blue. Alright, so there we have it, Drown. I really like the structure of this song. I like how we start off with an intro and the chorus. It's all piano, and then once he gets into the rap section, he's got that 808 drum beat going. And the drum beat also has some echo to really make it feel fuller. I like that aspect about it. The piano doesn't go away too, it's just staying there in the background as like a rhythm. And then as we exit the verse and we head into the chorus, right before he actually gets into the chorus, I like that whole transition where the piano keeps that delay effect it has going on during the verse. The drum beat mellows down, then there's this sound effect which signifies that the chorus is about to start and the drum beat gets going again, and then we have the cleaner piano sound. I really like how he arranged that. It really made for an interesting sound experience. I also really enjoyed the backing vocals, and I think that's something Tyler has been really consistent with across all of 21 Pilots music. He seems to have a good grasp on how to record great sounding backing vocals, and he knows how to implement them in songs to give the songs that dynamic feel, and it just sounds great. Now for the subject matter of this song, as was mentioned earlier in the video, There is a verse from here that appears on Fall Away in the self-titled album. In listening to the song, I found that the verse in question was the last verse in this song. But moreover, the subject matter of this song was really fitting with what we heard in self-titled as a whole. We have Tyler being conflicted in who he thinks he is and who he thinks he's supposed to be according to his belief system. He says things like, back and forth between being me and who you call me to be. He's in a place where he's feeling guilty because he doesn't feel like he's adhering to the image of what he's supposed to be. In this song, after having just acted in a way that goes against his beliefs, he's asking for forgiveness. And the reason I'm seeing it like that is because he's saying, I come to you in the very clothes that I killed you in. I walk to you, can you wash me? I see it as he's asking to be washed away of his sins, and he comes to this divine presence covered in these sins. There are things he feels ashamed about, and they are things that are probably characterized by the side of him that is a bit blasphemous. He says, planning strategy, half of me knows it's all just a fallacy, failing miserably, drastically, and then I crash dramatically into a wall I've hit 100 times before. So this planning strategy line, I see it as Tyler tries to find ways to adapt his personality and his actions to fit what he believes is expected of him with regards to his beliefs. But then for him to say half of me knows it's all just a fallacy, this is the part of him that denies God. Half of him feels like he's wasting his time and trying to satisfy the expectations of his beliefs. Then for him to say failing miserably, I'm taking it as much as he tries to be himself while satisfying his beliefs, he ends up failing, and the reason for it is because part of him just doesn't believe in the beliefs at all. So if he sees satisfying his beliefs to be a waste of time, then he's more likely to be pulled away from the identity that does correspond to his beliefs. And then at some point he hits a wall. It's like he's gone too far. It's like he's confronted with the part of him that does believe. It's kind of like what he was saying in Blasphemy, where he was talking from the perspective of someone who was saying blasphemous things, but on the other hand, he doesn't believe blasphemy is for him. That's that clash of identities. There is a part of him that struggles with his beliefs, and then there's another part of him that is dedicated to his beliefs. And then he says, yet I still ignore the dark red bloodstains on the floor, and I'm back in front of you, Lord, with the blood on the floor. Is the blood mine or yours? Don't want to do this anymore. And that's where we have the back and forth between being me and who you call me to be line. So he's having difficulties wrapping his mind around what's going on here. Is he pushing God away, and is he hurting God? Or is this all irrelevant in the grand scheme of things? Is he just hurting himself with these conflicting thoughts? He doesn't have the answer for this. All he knows is he doesn't want these conflicting thoughts anymore. He wants answers. And that's when we get into these lines about freedom. Earlier in this reaction, I mentioned how this song had a very self-titled album feel to it. You kind of see why here. It's that same conflict of who he wants to be versus who he thinks he should be. There's a lot of questions that cause for that separation in identities. Part of him is a believer, part of him struggles with his beliefs. He feels that if he got the answers to the questions he has, it would be so much easier for him to figure out what to do with his life. But because of all these answerless questions, he's just lost. And that's how I saw these lines about freedom. He doesn't feel like he could ever get freedom because he keeps running in circles and he keeps running into the same walls. And beyond the self-titled album, a lot of what he's saying here feels reminiscent of what he was talking about in Ode to Sleep. He was talking about freedom there. He used blood as a symbol. He used crashing. He used planning. That was all in Ode to Sleep. Then we have him saying, here I come again to you, just to show you the blood soaked through my bones and all I own. Is there a way for me to grow? So we have this wall Tyler is presented with that's characterized by the side of him that is still a believer, because he would completely have to destroy the side of him that does believe in order to progress in that direction. But anytime he's confronted with that wall, he knows he doesn't want to continue in that direction, so he starts moving back and he starts realizing he can't ignore that side of him that is a believer. So with him saying things like blood soaked through to my bones, that pretty much means to me that he's wondering if he has gone too far. Can he be forgiven despite his actions? And can he grow in a different direction? Can he grow in a direction that doesn't go through this wall? Can he grow closer towards his beliefs? Then we have the chorus, and then we have that second verse, which is the same verse that we see in Fall Away. In this verse, we have more detail on what separates these two identities for Tyler. He feels that this side of him that's more of a non-believer has a tendency to be more selfish. It acts in a manner that seeks personal gain, and this is in contradiction to this other side of him that I'm assuming acts towards a greater good. But then when he says, because I will save face for a name's sake. Abuse grace, take aim to obtain a new name in a newer place. This shows to me that he worries that the side of him that is still a believer is only there because he fears what judgment would be made of him at the end of his life. This makes me think a lot about Clear, where he talks about wishing he had two faces so that he could test which theory works, if he should be speaking his mind about all these questions he has despite those questions being blasphemous, or if he should just restrain himself from saying any of that and put on that mask that is characterized by his faith. He will use his beliefs to form an identity that corresponds with his belief system. He's worrying that this identity only exists for appearance, and if it only exists to get to a place that he's not sure he believes in. And then we have him ending off the song on "A random strike of light reminds me of what is true, but right now the ocean is blacker than black, and the sky is too." He's been following a path that led him into darkness, and this darkness is the unknown for him. In the unknown, you're more likely to look around you, you're looking for answers, you're trying to figure out which way you should go. So instead of following a straight line, you start examining your environment. And also on that note, he's met with a wall, so he can't even go forward, so he's forced to look in other directions. In doing that, he realizes he can't ignore the side of him that is a believer. So when he says "reminds me of what is true," no pun intended, but he can't drown out that side of him. That side of him will not cease to exist. So if he's been led into a wall by one of his identities and he can't move forward, he's gonna have to turn to his other identity to help guide him. And that is what I make of Drown. We have Tyler stuck in a place where he doesn't know how he should be moving forward. He's been acting in correspondence to one of his identities. He's been ignoring the side of him that corresponds with his beliefs, but now he's at that point where he doesn't know where to go. He feels guilty for what he has done, and he's begging for forgiveness. And this kind of brings me to Be Concerned, where he says he'll deny for years and then ask to be raised from the dead. Here in this song, he's at one of those points where he's denied for a long time. Now he's lost, and he's asking for forgiveness so that he could be brought back to a point where he could continue to grow. In this song, he also talks about the power struggles between the identities, what brings him closer to this non-believer side, what drags him away from it, what worries him about his faith. Is he abusing it? And the chorus ties it all in together nicely. He feels guilty about these thoughts. He feels guilty for denying. He's asking for forgiveness. He feels his thoughts are deep, sinful thoughts. So he's using a strong word such as drown to talk about washing those sins away. And it also says a lot that he's using that as the title. It shows you how guilty he feels about some of these thoughts and some of these questions. He wishes he had the answers. He just doesn't. He doesn't know where to go from here, but all he knows is that he can't push away that side of him that is a believer. So with that said, he is going to be seeking forgiveness. And that's what I thought about this song. You guys let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Please leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. You know, I always appreciate the support. The next song off of No Phun Intended that I will be reacting to goes by the name of Hole in the Ground. So I will see you all then. Have a great day, y'all.